just all the way off, right?
What if civilization collapses?
If civilization collapses, you have much bigger problems than being able to play your Diablo 3 game.
I disagree.
Okay.
With our
civilization collapsed. I think I like to go play some Diablo 3 right now.
Well, if civilization collapsed, I'd have to play SimCity instead because I like those.
No, you need to buy a gun and build a fence.
No,
that's the whole point.
Civilization.
No, it's
Sid Meier,
no, it's not.
it?
No, it's not. It's not good. It's not a good joke.
Hey, with our 4 minutes left, you got another news item to talk about?
I do. So let's talk about 38 Studios.
Okay.
So
38 Studios in 4 minutes. That's gonna be quick. Okay, let's see. Number one.
Let's see. Number one is Square Enix.
Yep,
number two is
Nintendo.
I don't leave them out. I don't really want to talk about them.
Keep going.
So 38 Studios, the studio that most of you probably know was started by the very famous Boston Red Sox pitcher Curt Schilling, who was at PAX East. Big surprise. It was right down in his neighborhood.
Yeah, I know.
Who actually talked very...
Walks across the street.
Yeah.
There.
So a few years back, 2006, I believe, Curt Schilling actually began his own company called 38 Studios to create an MMORPG because he loves them so much and wanted to make one with all the problems fixed. Because as many of us think, oh, if I could make this game, it would be so much better.
Apparently it's difficult to make a video game.
Yeah, it is. And Curt Schilling thought I'm not saying Curt Schilling thought it was easy, but Curt Schilling clearly didn't understand how hard it is. The point is they went to developing 2 games. One game that was multi-platform and was an RPG a la Skyrim, launched months, weeks even, after Skyrim. And one that is based in the same universe, but is an MMORPG. Now, in order to make them move,
Sorry.
In order to make them move,
distracted.
Right, in order to make them move to help stimulate the economy in Rhode Island, which apparently is hurting, despite the best efforts of Family Guy.
That's true. There is a Quahog, isn't there?
I don't even know if that's real. Is it real? It sounds like an Indian name. It's got to be there.
Can there be much more room in Rhode Island for anything but Providence?
Or for Peter Griffin?
Does anyone live in Rhode Island?
In any case, the point is, Rhode Island gave them, I think, $75 million loan to move to the state of Rhode Island and hire 450 people. And now they missed their big loan payment this, I think, 2 weeks ago. And so they're defaulting on their loan to the state of Rhode Island. And Rhode Island is now thinking that if the company defaults, they will be $112 million in the hole. The taxpayers will.
That's a lot.
To bail out.
Is it really 112 million?
112 million.
And here's the funny thing is that apparently they've gone back to ask for more money. 38 Studios. The company still has the option to cure the existing default by paying the $1,125,000
it's past
guarantee
due.
fee that's past due.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
by the way, just so you know, here's the picture on Joystick. That's why I was laughing because, come on, that's hilarious.
That is pretty hilarious. But the game is Kingdoms of Amalur. Reckoning is the RPG, which is just like Skyrim but third person throughout, and a lot more actiony and a lot more animated. And I've heard it's actually very, very good. It's just not selling well because Skyrim is unbelievable.
Do the taxpayers of Rhode Island care enough to throw more possibly good money after bad?
Listen,
they care?
Half of the state was against it when they were planning to do it. They were planning it.
You hear stuff like this a lot, unfortunately, like tax breaks or whatever for companies to come.
Tax breaks are different than a loan.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
I mean, this is a loan. Here's $75 million.
More like paying for a stadium for a sports team almost. And then the team's like, we need more money.
But a municipality thinks they're going to get that back because, people are going to visit the state. They're going to get, money running through the system. Their businesses will benefit. People don't benefit from... The thought is they want to put more people to work in the state of Rhode Island. They thought they'd inject some money into this game company, which was kind of on the edge and would attract the best talent in the state, which it hasn't done. I think to date they've hired about 280 people versus the 450 they talked about. So they got big problems.
So they probably shouldn't throw more money after it. Do you think they will?
Kickstarter.
Oh God.
Kickstarter. Listen. If you...
That's a possibility.
Because look, I hate the idea that they're asking for more public money.
No.
But here's the thing. If you look at if you look at here, I don't blame Kurt Schilling. I don't blame 38 Studios. I blame the state of Rhode Island. How could you blame anybody else? Because if the state of Rhode Island doesn't come to them and go, here's $75 million, all you have to do is move here, Kurt Schilling would still be doing business in Massachusetts and be defuncting there and not owe anybody any money.
Everyone knows is the most business-friendly state.
Oh yeah, exactly.
In the world.
It's probably 47 out of 50.
Anyway,
so yeah, the point is, they got big problems on their hands, and
big trouble in River City.
I'd like to see what the statistics are on Kingdoms of Amalur. I mean, I've heard it's actually a really great game. I just haven't heard anybody that's bought it. So if it's really selling that poorly that they can't make their $1 million payment, then I think they're probably in trouble. Because the whole point was to bankroll the MMO with this game.
I'd like to leave with this thought for Nintendo. Perhaps they should make it a zombie, because zombies are hot right now.
There you go.
So, all right. Well, wraps it up for the news.
They're in. So yeah, the news is over.
Which means it's time for...
And play the segue music. Where's our producer? Play the segue music. Thank you, producer.
Yep.
Now it's time to get to our topic.
Our actual topic.
Of the day. Did you put the echo on before I did that?
Yes.
Thanks. You're a great producer.
I know.
Anyway, so we really do need to get one of those. We should ask Kurt Schilling. Maybe he's got some money for us to hire ask the state of North Carolina.
We should ask the state.
Yeah, ask the state. Maybe they've got somebody we could... We need to hire a producer.
They're throwing money all over the place nowadays.
Do you make any money? Who cares? We just need a producer. Anyway. Apparently Kurt is actually not broke, by the way. Kurt actually got all of his money back already from the state of Rhode Island. Anyway.
I'm going to smack you.
We're moving on to the topic of the story of games. Now, in the I think it was the very first Echo Screen Live.
Way back when?
Way back in 1957.
Yep, I was there.
And at that time, we were talking into giant microphones about this big.
Yeah.
And
Sputnik.
we had very
Sputnik was our news.
Very well greased and crafted hairstyles.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't talk about Avengers.
What was that?
I don't know.
Is that the Harry Potter 7 movie? Or?
That's an art house film that came out.
Oh, okay.
Kind of interesting.
Indie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it's not important.
Avengers came out. It was big. If you haven't seen it, go see it. There. That's the end of that news story.
Boom!
Okay, now back to video game narratives.
Don't see it in 3D. It's not worth it.
I disagree. Scarlett Johansson.
Oh.
Ding! Anyway.
Could you imagine Samuel L. Jackson in the Siri commercial after he met Scarlett Johansson and what that would really be like? Like, imagine what it would be really like.
Hey,
oh, yeah.
PG.
Okay. Got it. Right. Sorry. PG?
Yes.
Is that the rule?
No.
Is that the rule?
No.
Who said that?
Kirby.
Okay. Yes. So the first podcast ever for the Echo Screen Live, a question was asked. Why don't you guys do a podcast on narrative, about stories
in video games?
In video games, and about how things might have changed over the years and what the significance of stories are. And this person's specific question, and I apologize, I don't remember who asked the question. But the point was, has story degraded over time to where now video games really aren't telling very good stories? It's more about pumping money out of a franchise, and it's more about, trying to milk the most dollars out of the experience. So start wherever you want to start.
Well, I have to ask the question, when was this golden age when story was like, there were these really great stories? I mean, not that I don't think there are great stories, but when was this golden age where that went from, you had Pac-Man, no story, and then at some point,
Pac-Man has a narrative, it's just not very good.
And you need a great story,
or well defined,
and then
might
it's
be a great
come down
story,
to commercialized crap.
Yeah.
When was this golden era? 16-bit?
Okay, well, my personal opinion, there was no golden era.
90s?
That's a joke. I don't think there was a golden era. I think video game stories are just as good as they've ever been. The point is that things have changed a little bit. The woman is the prey. No, it's okay. It's a song.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. No, so I would think that the person that asked the question's opinion would be the early 90s.
And see, we're getting all sorts of different answers here, which is...
Yeah, I mean, but let's think about this, right? So I think the person that was asking the question, a retro games fan, would say that the JRPG era of games...
That's probably the first thing you think of when you think of stories.
It is the best time for stories in video games, and that things have degraded since then.
But...
But...
Was it really good?
But Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson's butt?
Scarlett Johansson butt.
In 3D.
In 3D.
Perfect. Ganafshar. And see, okay, now you got two. There's really two different things you're talking about here when you're talking about stories. Two kind of genres. Correct me if there's more.
Okay.
RPGs and adventure games.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
No.
Good. Now, as far as on consoles, JRPGs were really in their golden era in the 90s and earlier in the last decade. I think most people would say.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Well,
okay, go ahead.
You're going to find people that disagree with that, but most people would probably say that.
Yes.
And adventure games.
Yes.
Had
dead.
No.
Barely alive.
No.
Barely breathing.
Okay, you didn't play. Okay, well, their golden age was probably what, early 90s?
I would say probably 93, 94.
And the 80s. Yeah, it's when Sierra was really big.
Sierra wasn't really big
well,
then,
okay,
though.
they weren't, but relatively big.
Very late 80s. 88, 89.
Late 80s, early 90s, we'll say, for the sake of argument. But you also had Tim Schafer.
LucasArts.
Kind of carrying that torch for quite a while. So it's hard to say.
Yep.
My point is
Myst.
that those are the two
93.
genres.
Seventh Guest.
Myst. That's terrible.
Myst is an adventure game.
Yeah.
It's the adventure game par excellence, as a matter of fact.
But the story.
I mean, I'm telling you what the museum definition is, not necessarily what mine is, because I wouldn't say Myst is par excellence, the adventure game.
I
of
think
choice.
I had a point. My point is that those.
I like kind of derailing you. It's fun.
It is.
Yeah.
But so I was listening to an episode of Retronauts not too long ago, and they were talking.
Are you pimping another podcast on our podcast?
You should really listen to that.
You're pimping our podcast.
It's way better
I
than
can't
ours.
believe this is terrible.
No,
I can't be a part of this anymore.
No, it was from a while ago.
I quit.
They were talking about
all right, I'm
like
back.
second tier JRPGs.
Yes.
Ones that
like all the ones in the 16-bit gems, for example.
Pretty much.
There you
like
go.
Not Final Fantasy, not Dragon Quest.
Nope, exactly.
Not the ones people know about.
Illusion of Gaia.
And they were talking about. It's not really an RPG. It's an
RPG-ish.
It's an adventure game, really.
Oh,
Maybe
no, it's not.
What's some RPG elements?
No.
Wait, no.
No.
Anyway, and they're talking
whatever.
about a lot of these PS1 games, like Legend of Dragoon,
Yeah.
like Xenogears.
Yep. Xenogears.
And
Chrono Cross.
Well, people know Chrono Cross.
Yeah.
Parasite Eve.
Yeah.
You know, after Final Fantasy VII came out.
Not Wild Arms. What the hell was the name of that?
But no, they did talk about Wild Arms too, actually. But Breath of Fire.
Breath of Fire.
Okay,
yeah,
people are
absolutely.
filling in
the blankness that is our heads.
Exactly. Thank you. The point being that after Final Fantasy VII came out and was the juggernaut it was, a lot of other game companies were like, "Oh, we got to get on this.
Yeah, we got to make some more.
We gotta come up with the most convoluted dang story we possibly can."
Right. We need androgynous characters.
And a lot of it was very similar. It had like a lot of angst and young heroes.
A lot of yuffie.
Luckily, you don't see as much of that anymore.
Yeah.
But
No, you don't.
it was definitely the thing for a while.
Well, you see a lot of the copying, not a lot of those kinds of games.
Right. So I think most people would say, yeah, okay, JRPGs definitely were that was kind of the golden age, and there was a lot more emphasis on story then.
Yeah.
But was the story really good? Was that really better than what you'll find now in other games?
It's a great question. And
like
I think,
like Skyrim, some of these more Western RPGs that have been coming out lately. Fallout 3.
the American RPGs are very, very story driven. They just happen to be much more of an action kind of game, right?
Well, and they're generally more open. You know,
And it's
you
not-
play Skyrim, and I guess there's a story, but
It's also not a traditional RPG. Skyrim completely does away with the attributes from Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Final Fantasy uses that as a basis for everything they do in terms of the math.
oh yeah, of
Skyrim
course.
completely ditched it.
Okay.
So Skyrim is an RPG that doesn't use D&D or any of the facets of D&D except for weapons and armor in its RPG presentation.
Now I haven't played Skyrim. Are there levels and?
Of
things
course,
like that? Okay.
but that's
Well,
not the
then
point. The point is there's not an attribute that gets assigned and then all of a sudden Diablo 3, perfect example, same thing. Diablo 3 is not like the original Diablo where there are attributes that you pump.
Right.
Right? All that stuff is gone now, guys. It's all about